she wasn't gonna fake enjoying it. So it became kind of apparent that she wasn't enjoying it, so then he stopped and said, can he ask her a question? He asked her to pretend that she did not want this. But out loud, she asked him, like, what do you mean pretend I don't want this? He said that he, oh my, like, okay. He said that he wants her to, like, resist him, push him away, and scream so he can cover her mouth.
Run.
So all he said, it's his fantasy. So I always like to end things on a high note, and that's what we're about to do with this last story. Before she knew it, they were kissing, they were making out. She said it was intense, but like in the best way possible. 그리고 작은 아니에요. She also said she felt like he was reading her mind, like he just responded to what she wanted to happen. What's up, idols? It's Cece Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. Forgive me. It is the first week of September, but now summer decides to make an appearance. We're having a heat wave here in the UK. So you guys see the title of this video. This email comes from Teresa. She says she's not shy. We can use her name. Her name's Teresa. But yeah, she wanted to share her personal experiences because she's been living in Korea for years now. And a lot of her friends back home who are like newly getting into K-pop and they watch K-dramas or just are curious about, you know, the stereotype about men from that region when it comes to extracurricular activities below the belt. And honestly, it's a question that I get a lot too, but like I'm a bit more like low-key with private personal matters like that. Also, I have only been with 3 guys in my entire life sexually, so I'm not really experienced enough to speak on this. But yeah, like I said, she's not shy. She said the good people out there want to know, her friends want to know. She gets questions about it all the time. I get questions about it all the time. So she says she will be the one to give her personal experience on this, and you guys can decide for yourself. So at the end of each encounter, she gave them a score, like in the email, she gave them a score out of 10. Given the nature of this video, I have been putting it off for quite some time because especially lately, I've been having demonetization and limited ad issues going on. As always, please watch this video until the very end. Please, it helps me out with the watch time and the watch hours. Binge my videos. I've put together playlists across this channel. Drive up the engagement with comments and likes down below. Even when my videos get like 10,000 views or 100,000 views, I would love to see if it's at all possible for the likes to match the views. I mean, if you don't like the video, fair enough, but if you watch and you come back every week, please leave a like. If I get like 10,000 likes and 10,000 views, that would be amazing. And that would be a first. So Teresa says some of these encounters were great, some were bad, and some were creepy, so let's get right into it. So the first story she wanted to share and jump right into was her first boyfriend in Korea. They dated for about 10 months, and they met on Tinder. She said the name doesn't matter because this story is about the peen. What can I call it throughout this video? By the way, those were her words, not mine. She said don't worry about a name because it ain't even about that. It's about the experience itself. She said it took them a while before they were actually like intimate with each other, and she enjoyed the slow burn, taking things slowly, especially given the fact that being a foreigner in Korea means that so many guys are likely to message you and hop right on the hey, one night, open mind, ONS, hookup, FWB. So when she met a guy that took his time and actually got to know her and didn't really bring that up and wasn't so forward with that, she felt a lot more relaxed and at ease. So he's already off to a good start. And honestly, with that part of the story, I can definitely relate because I only dated one guy in Korea and we started seeing each other like June, and we didn't do anything until we went to Hong Kong in August. Yeah, he was a really good guy. Like you guys saw the reason why we broke up. It was nothing bad, no bad vibes or anything. It was just a distance situation. But yeah, he was a really good dude. So not every guy out there is a piece of garbaggio. So anyway, back to Teresa. The moment that they finally crossed that line and took things to the next level, she said it was about 6 weeks into their relationship. They had gone on a date. It was late into the night. It was cold and rainy, and she was worried about him driving home by himself at such a late hour. So she said, hey, you know, you could always sleep on the couch, you could always spend the night. And they weren't really planning anything like that at all because they both had work in the morning, so this wasn't one of those spend the night. It was literally like spend the night, drive, go home in the morning so I know you're safe. But you know, man, stuff happens when the mood is right. And she said it was cold and rainy, and he was a really good guy that she felt like she was getting to know really well. He was a sweet guy. So she said that he was very attentive. He was a very generous performer. And she said overall that was a very passionate experience. She said unfortunately it set the bar too damn high because as we get into this video, you'll see 1 was also good and 2, you'll see in a minute.
Expose him!
And, you know, she had heard all the stereotypes like, oh, you know, men over there, más pequeño. So she wasn't sure, like, you know, how it would feel and how it would be, but she enjoyed it. She was, what was it, Angelica Schuyler? Satisfied. She said compared to, you know, some of the guys she was with in the States, he was a little smaller, but it was still just as effective. And that was also the first night that he told her he loved her. Bless. So yeah, the first man got a score of 9 out of 10. On to the next guy. As previously stated, Teresa and that guy were together for about 10 months, and after a while they just got so busy, couldn't see each other, and things just kind of fizzled out. She said it wasn't anything bad, no one was cheating, no one was lying. She went back to dating apps and started over, and she met a guy. It is worth noting this guy didn't speak English that well, but she actually speaks pretty decent Korean, and she said whenever she was, you know, would meet a Korean who wasn't that comfortable or good at English, she didn't really have too much of a problem communicating with them in Korean. So that was the situation. He spoke like no English, but bless him, he did try. So they agreed to meet, go out for dinner so they could talk in person, get to know each other physically in person. And when they met, she did say that something seemed a little off because he didn't quite look the same as he did in his pictures. She said she can't tell if he used like an app to make his head smaller or his body bigger, but something was off. Like he just did not look the same. Now when they met, he was so full of compliments and like, oh, you look so cute, you look so sexy, you look so beautiful, you look amazing, I like your style. She said it was a bit too much. Like,
You came on a little strong.
she said she felt like he was trying really hard, and that ultimately made her pretty uncomfortable. So after dinner, they decided to go for a walk. And as he seemed like he was starting to, you know, relax a little bit more and be a little bit less uptight and be more of himself, she said, you know what, we should keep in touch. So he said, yeah, I agree. Can I get your cacao? She gave him the cacao. They went their separate ways. So she said fast forward about another week or two, and she decided to reach out to him. It was one of those nights where she wanted some company.
Just want some company, company. I just need some company, company.
And she invited him over to her place. Of course, he's like, hell yeah, I'll be over there soon. Can't wait to see you again. So he comes over, and she was surprised to see that he was empty-handed, because normally, you know, you bring some snacks or some drinks or something. So then she asked him, she's like, oh, did you bring protection by any chance? He's like, oh, no, it's okay, we don't need it. If I hear one more dude say that they don't need a condom, I'm gonna go full Scarlet Witch on somebody. It's gonna happen.
You have exhausted my patience.
I'm sorry, but that is so disrespectful to say you don't need a condom. If you're not in a steady, committed relationship with one person, you always need to use that. Since we're talking about this, I am curious. Ladies, how many of you out there have heard the defense, I eat kimchi, so I can't catch / don't have STDs? It's not every guy that says that in Korea, obviously, but it's enough of them where, like, is becoming like a pattern. Where is the science? I need some studies and research. So just like with the story I shared with you guys last week, she sent him right out the door back to the store to get some protection. So he comes back with what was needed, and they quite literally hop right into it. And she said immediately he was way too eager. Sloppy kisses, tongue like near her nose and her chin. Oh, hi. What are you doing? Come here. Say hi to the people. We got a guest. You just say hi. 안녕. 안녕. Hold my top down. Don't reveal my titties on camera. Chew. Sorry, where was I? Ah, yeah. He was kissing her rather aggressively. She said, like, tongue on the chin and around the nose, and it was, like, too sloppy. He also slammed her against the wall and then apologized for it. She said once inside, he wasn't as bad as she thought he would be. But one thing, she said he did not reciprocate her generosity, if you know what I mean. She said he also didn't last very long the first lap, but they did another lap, and that one was better. Size-wise, she said that he was a bit bigger than her ex, but it wasn't as good as it was with her ex. So as they're, you know, finishing up a little bit and talking, his phone rang, and she looked down at his phone, and he saw Teresa look down at his phone. She's pretty sure she saw Yobel, which is like honey, or sweetie. Usually people use it when they're in a relationship with someone. So then he laughs nervously and says, oh, it's my sister. Calling me at this late hour, she must need help. I should get going. So initially she gave him a 4 out of 10. But given the fact that he most likely just cheated on his girlfriend / wife, she took that down to a -2. He tried to reach out to her again soon, like the next morning, like, hey, how are you? Hope we can do it again soon. Winky smiley face, and she stopped talking to him. So this next story was a club ting. This is the one that's really creepy. It was one of those unplanned rebound sort of nights where she was just out with her friends, not looking for a dude, just out with her friends, and if she saw a guy she liked. You know how you do that thing where you see a guy, I mean, it happens in movies. I don't do the thing. I wish I could do the thing, but I'm not equipped to do the thing. But you see a guy that you like, and you stare at them when you're interested. You know, you just kind of...
No.
Like, what am I can't do this, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you look at them until they notice you, and then when they notice you, see if it's mutual. So he came over and offered to buy her a drink.
Come buy your drink. I'ma take it home.
She said he was tall, he was really tan for a Korean, and he had his hair like bleached. He was also very well dressed, and one thing she said, he was young. She said in her mind, he was maybe like 22, 23, but in reality, he might have only been like 19. So, you know, they went on dancing with each other, they're drinking, they're vibing out, things are getting a little steamy. I'll make a mental note, give you my number, and hit you up on a lonely night. So she said it was only a few days later where he hit her up. It was in the middle of the week, and he was like, hey, Teresa, like, hey, what are you doing? Are you up? Like, are you busy? She's like, no, I'm just watching some movies, getting ready for work in the morning. And he was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Yeah, work. So, you know, what are you doing this weekend? She said, nothing that I know of. So he suggested that they hang out this upcoming weekend. She agreed. So now the booty call is on. Now, in her email, she says that she prefers to bring a guy to her place because it's on her terms, her domain, her comfort zone. And the spy cam situation in Korea is not an exaggeration. Like, it's a real serious problem. You don't know what these guys have set up in their apartments. You don't know what's set up in these hotel rooms and Airbnbs and stuff. She knows she doesn't have cameras in her apartment, so she'd rather have a guy come over than go over to their place. So Club Boy arrives to her apartment with soju and ramen and protection. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a good one. Not really, because the story takes a turn, but at least he brought condoms. So they're at the table, they're eating their ramen, they're drinking their soju, talking a little bit. They decide to go cozy up on the couch, watch a movie. Nobody ever, the movie watches you, let's be real. And they start kissing and undressing and
Click, clack, bada bing, bada boom.
so while they're undressing each other, he like asks her if she's freaky. She didn't know if that was like his attempt at doing some sort of dirty talk. She didn't like it. She ignored it and just kept like, shut up, just please stop talking. Don't ruin this for me. You're so attractive. So now that they're both in the state in which they entered the world, this is where things really took a turn. How can I say this on YouTube? He's inside where it's warm and there's no significant motion in the ocean. A few pumps in and she wanted it to be over. And she says she's not the type to she wasn't gonna fake enjoying it. So it became kind of apparent that she wasn't enjoying it. So then he stopped and said, can he ask her a question? I don't even know what to do with my hands. He asked her to pretend that she did not want this. In her mind, she's probably already thinking, I don't gotta pretend, I do not indeed want this. You're not doing anything. There's no motion in the ocean. I'm not enjoying this. But out loud, she asked him, like, what do you mean pretend I don't want this? He said that he, oh my, like, okay. He said that he wants her to like resist him, push him away, and scream so he can cover her mouth.
Run.
Apparently he has a fantasy. All he said, it's his fantasy. I think you guys understand the type of fantasy that he has, which is why this is so creepy. So at this point, the mood is gone. It was already almost non-existent. She felt herself get sober and dry. She was done with this. She told him that he should leave. And she said to him, it scares me that you have a great fantasy. Of course, he defended it. He's like, it's not that. And she's like, so what is it? And he had no words. So then he asked her if he could finish himself in the bathroom before he leaves. At that point, she was like, do what you gotta do. Just get out of my apartment. So she heard him finish. It didn't take long, luckily for her. She was like, the sooner he gets out, the better. So she wanted to make sure he didn't make a mess or anything, but he came out dressed and he apologized and he left, and that was it. She never heard from him again. She never wanted to hear from him again. And like, it freaks me out even that this is a thing that guys dream of, this sort of encounter. Pretend you don't want it, push me away, scream so I have to cover your mouth. Get help. So for this one, she gave him a 2 out of 10. I'm surprised it's not 0. She said the only reason it's not is because he was cute. And she said when she asked him to leave, he didn't put up much of a fight, and she was kind of worried that he would actually turn his fantasy into a reality and force himself, but he left. So she said, you know what, that's worth something, you get a 2 out of 10. So I always like to end things on a high note, and that's what we're about to do with this last story. This guy is someone Teresa knew through friends. Like, it wasn't a dating app, it wasn't a chance encounter. He was just a friend of a friend that started to come around with them, and she started to get used to seeing his face. She said they had always had like a bit of a flirty vibe, but he either always had a girlfriend or she had a boyfriend, and now is the first time that they've both been single at the same time, so they can actually act on these feelings and see where it goes. So one fun night while they were out singing karaoke at a norebang, it was a group of friends. It wasn't just Teresa and this guy. It was like a group of friends, the friends that always brings him around. There was a cute moment where they sang a ballad. Well, not really a ballad, but a duet. Probably one of my favorite duets. Stay with me. 나의 두 눈을 감으면 떠오르는 그는 통장. 자꾸 가슴이 시려서. That led them to be, everybody's like, oh, you guys gotta sing more together. Like, oh, you guys sound so good together. Because I told you, Korean men can sing really well for no reason. I don't know why, it just is what it is. So yeah, they sang some more ballads together. They sang some duets. And, you know, they're drinking so, because, you know, oh, God, I miss karaoke in Korea. It's so cheap to do karaoke in Korea. Here, for example, it's like 20 pounds a person. It's ridiculous. Over there, you could get like 2 to 3 hours of karaoke for like 10 to 15,000 won, no matter how many people are in the room with you. And then you always get like a service extra 15 minutes or a service free soju bottle. Anyway, this is one of those nights. They were just having a fun lit room full of karaoke friends and alcohol, and you know, there's like these benches and stuff that usually line up inside, and they're sitting there singing together, leaning on each other, and everybody's like, oh, you guys look good together. I see what's happening here. And her friends always spoke really highly of him. They were like, he's such a good guy, but he can't seem to find the right girl. And the relationship he had just come out of, he was cheated on. And she was able to kind of relate to that because she told him about the whole hookup situation where she looked at his phone and clearly saw Yobo, so that guy was cheating. And her 10-month relationship that ended, you know, on a pretty good note, but it just didn't work out because of how busy they both were. So, you know, they were bonding over relationship trauma in a way, I guess. After, you know, they were wrapping up norebang, they were going outside, like, oh guys, it's such a fun night, I'll see you guys another time. She laid everything that she had on him. She's just like, oh my God, I need to flirt. I really want him to ask to like come to my place. But he's like the nice guy, so she didn't think that would happen. So she's just like, you know, playing with her hair and looking into his eyes and like pushing him and just being as flirty and girly as she possibly can be. Now, where this norebang was actually closer to his apartment than it was to her apartment. So he invited her over for a nightcap. I don't know, what is a nightcap? I see it in movies all the time. I don't know what it is, but that's what just happened. So she agrees because she's excited. She likes him and he's nice and he's cute and he's single now, and so is she. So she got to his place and she says she already felt a bit more vulnerable because she's never been to his apartment before. She doesn't know what to expect inside, but it was really clean. It smelled nice. It was bigger than she thought it would be, especially given the neighborhood it was in. And so few Korean young adults live alone, so she was like, oh wow, like you live here by yourself, impressive. You know, she said he was a proper host. He's like, oh, are you hungry? You know, make yourself at home. Do you need to use the bathroom? Do you want to wash up? Like, you know, enjoy yourself. Mi casa es su casa. Ne chip, no chip. So yeah, they sit on the couch, as one does, and they're drinking some wine, and they decided to talk more about past relationships. And she asked him like, so what happened with your last relationship? You know, my friend said that you got cheated on. What happened? So he explained that he caught her because of like social media. And then the way the email just jumped, she said because at this point, before she knew it, they were kissing, they were making out. She said it was intense, but like in the best way possible. She said the way he held her, the way he responded to her, and paid attention to her, she was into it. 그리고 작은 아니에요. She also said she felt like he was reading her mind, like he just responded to what she wanted to happen without her having to verbalize it. She legit gave this man a 10 out of 10. 10점 만점에 10점.
And 2 p.m. baby 10점 만점에 10점 10점 만점에 10점.
So after that, she didn't want this to be like just a hookup. She wanted this to go farther. She was interested in seeing him on a serious level. They're trying to play the long game a little bit. This just happened. This is a very recent one. Nothing's official yet, but she's happy where things are going with her and this guy. Since this night, they've hooked up again a few times. They've gone on dates together a few times. So yeah, guys, to sum up everything, she said these were just 4 of the most memorable encounters that she had. There are a lot more basic, vanilla, you know, we did it, wham bam, thank you ma'am sort of stories. So she said overall, to the question posted on the title of this video, she thinks just like every other guy in every other region of the world, some are good, some are bad. She said you should not go to Korea expecting every guy to be bad in bed, and you should not go expecting them to be all good either. And one thing she said that I strongly agree with is she said, like, notice the guys that she had some sort of connection with emotionally. It was way better than the little flings. I agree with this because I am demisexual. I'm not really interested in sleeping with someone unless there's that connection. Hence why I've only had 3 in my entire life, because when a guy has to ask you for punani, that is not attractive to me. So she wanted to end this video with this. She wanted me to tell you guys that she typed it out. She said, Ladies, it's 2023. Though we've come a long way in terms of bodily autonomy and owning our own sexuality, we have a long way to go. It's okay to have fun and explore, but know the difference between fun and when someone is trying to use you. Never feel guilted into it. Always protect yourself, speak up, and stand up for yourself. Sex is fun, but too many girls rely on attention from men as validation and short-term boosts in their confidence. And then they end up feeling like crap afterwards. Men in Korea are just like the men that live in the country you're in right now. They're not better, they're not worse. No one is, we're all human. Have fun, be safe, and live your life for you. P.S. If you want a part 2, let Cece know and I'll see what I can do. Teresa, baby, thank you. This was a very personal story, you know, like this is something intimate, like, and she felt I'm always amazed that people feel comfortable sharing this stuff with me and us. And it is touching how you put these messages out there for people like, hey, you know, I'll share what happens to me so you don't let it happen to you. We need to look out for each other. And I really love that about this community. So yeah, binge my videos that are about to pop up on the end screen in a few seconds. Thanks for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!